Circle in.
Boo! Welcome to Analyzing the Pac-Man Ghosts, Part 8. This is a video series where I take a look at every single Pac-Man ghost in the entire history of the Pac-Man series. Through the journey of making these Pac-Man ghost videos, I've become sort of a ghostbuster. I've been able to find all these ghosts and discover and learn about all these ghosts that I never even knew about in Pac-Man. And today I have a lot of really interesting ones for you. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 1, Rocky. Rocky is a ghost that appears in the pac-store mini-series cartoon that only aired as commercials in Japan. He's one of a few ghosts that are from the show, and the episodes were very short. His hair looks like Bart Simpson. Now, all 4 of these ghosts actually have their own names, and I'll talk about them as we go. Now, each of these ghosts do have their own distinct personalities, kind of like the Pinky Blinky Inky and Clyde of the pac-store. And this whole show, the pac-store, it kind of feels like almost a reboot of Pac-Man as a series, kind of. It almost feels like it's like redoing all of the classic Pac-Man characters, except for Pac-Man himself. He remains the same, but the girl Pac known as Pac-Marie is there, and this was around the time when they lost the rights to Mrs. Pac-Man, so she was like the first wannabe Miss Pac-Man before Pac-Mom. And then also there's Pac-Little, and God, I hate that name. It's like, jeez. You mean Pac-Man Jr.? Well, anyway, you got these 4 new, unique ghosts. I think they're very cool. What makes them even more interesting, though, is the fact that they don't appear in any of the games. These ghosts are just exclusive to the pac-store. Well, one thing I can say about Rocky from watching the episodes is that he's a very vain boy, very into himself. He tries to flirt with the girls and stuff. Rocky considers himself a ladies' man. I dig Rocky's look, his personality. I think he's a fun little character. There's even a scene in one of the episodes where he argues with the girls about hogging the mirror because he's trying to check out his hair and make sure it's just so and everything like that. Yeah, so Rocky's a fun character. Number 2, Green 7-Up Ghost. In the 1980s, there was a lot of Pac-Man commercials and toys and cereal and all that other stuff. Probably the best Pac-Man commercial in the 1980s, and debatably even today, is the 7-Up Pac-Man commercial. Just the way it looked visually, it was just stunning. The commercial shows someone playing the Pac-Man original arcade cabinet while drinking 7-Up. I love 7-Up, by the way. They do list the 4 original ghosts from the arcade machine at the very beginning, but it's all like mixed up and all over the place. They like swapped them all around, and they're out of order. Also, they seem a bit miscolored. And I can't tell if that's the commercial making the mistake or just that it's an old commercial so it looks fuzzy. But I love the fuzzy look of this commercial and the faded colors. It makes it look so much more charming and actually cooler looking, in my opinion. Because people these days are obsessed with like HD quality videos, and you could argue that's like an art form in and of itself. So why can't enjoying vintage looking footage be an art form? Why can't we have new movies and commercials and TV shows look vintage? How come that's not a thing? But anyway, that's a whole other side rant. I love this commercial, and I'm sure everyone does who grew up in the 80s, and I didn't get to. But at the end of the commercial, one of the 4 original ghosts is now green, and since the other colors of the ghosts are what they're supposed to be, we can assume this green ghost is supposed to be Blinky, but I think they decided to change the color of Blinky in this commercial from being red to green because they decided to make Pac-Man red in this commercial or something like that. And I think it's to match the red dot logo and the 7-Up logo. So Pac-Man is like a ball, right? So he's kind of like the red dot in the 7-Up logo. So they wanted, when he's drinking the 7-Up, they wanted him to be the red part of the logo. And then the bottle of the 7-Up is the green. So they basically swapped Pac-Man and Blinky, kind of. At first I speculated that this green ghost is supposed to be Funky, the green ghost from Pac-Mania. But Pac-Mania came out like 7 years after this original commercial aired. So I guess it's not funky. And I also think the ghost is supposed to be green to match the color of 7-Up. I love it. Whether it's a mistake or intentional, I think it's really cool. This is an early commercial in early Pac-Man history where we get to see different color ghosts other than the 4 originals. So it kind of makes this commercial even more of an oddity than just it being a 7-Up commercial. Now there's either two ways you can really look at this. You can say in your mind, well, it is Funky, even though Funky didn't appear yet as a character, but you can assume that the ghost still exists in the world of Pac-Man, right? So you could say it's still Funky, and that would make sense. Either that, or I would just call this ghost the green 7-Up ghost. And I can dig it. So next time you're playing the original Pac-Man arcade cabinet, drink yourself a 7-Up. Trust me, it's much better than Sprite. And it's what Pac-Man prefers. Don't you want to drink what your hero prefers to drink? Why do you think Pac-Man's so strong in those mazes? Where does he get the strength? How is he going to handle himself when he gets tired and sweaty? He needs a 7-Up. Come on now. Also, right next to the green ghost is a purple ghost. We can assume this is supposed to be Pinky, but the color's purple. So is this supposed to be Sue? Yes, another Pac-mania connection, because Sue first appeared in Ms. Pac-Man, and then her color was changed to purple in Pac-mania all those years later. But here we have a commercial where we have Funky and Sue right next to each other, and it's before Pac-Mania, and in Pac-Mania it was the first appearance of Funky and Sue, or the first appearance of Sue being purple. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? So I'm going to say the same thing that I said about the green ghost. You could say that this is Sue, but I guess it's Pinky or Sue, or I don't know. Number 3, Captain Banshee. Captain Banshee is a ghost pirate from Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, the TV series. So he's got like a ghost ship, ghost crew, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of reminds me of the Flying Dutchman from SpongeBob, because even he had a ship too. Captain Banshee is an okay character. He's not as cool as Spectre or Master Goo that I talked about from previous episodes of this show in my other ghost videos. I don't know, he's kind of a typical pirate character, I guess. What is interesting about him is that he has like fin arms and fins and scales like on his body. So I think he's supposed to be a shark ghost, because actually in the show there are several different types of ghosts that have certain unique abilities and powers, such as alien ghosts, fire ghosts, and there are such a thing as shark ghost, and we'll talk about that in another video. But I guess out of all the characters in this show, Captain Banshee would be the most interesting and infamous shark ghost of them all. I guess it kind of fits, sharks and pirates. Number 4, Pharaoh ghosts. Pharaoh ghosts appear in one of the levels in Pac-Man The Adventures in Time that was released for the PC in the year 2000. A pretty underrated Pac-Man title that will probably never get a re-release. I don't know why. But in this stage, I originally thought that only Blinky would be the Pharaoh ghost, since he's kind of the leader of the ghost gang. But in the cutscenes and stuff, and in the gameplay, all 4 of the ghosts actually have Pharaoh hats. So there is more than one Pharaoh ghost, which kind of makes sense, because back in the day there were several pharaohs, not just one. Then again, they weren't all pharaohs at the same time, but whatever. Now, it's either that they're pharaohs or they just stole the hats, but they're probably real pharaohs because Pac-Man did time travel to ancient Egypt. What I do find kind of odd about this is how the ghosts were able to rise to power and become pharaohs in the first place, when Pac-Man is always the one that's able to defeat them and is the greatest threat to them. And also on the walls of the pyramid there's Pac-Man art in Egyptian style. Wouldn't Pac-Man be the pharaoh and Ms. Pac-Man be Ms. Pharaoh with him? I don't know, whatever. Number 5, Harry. Harry is another ghost from the pac-store cartoon, and he's probably my favorite. He's got like a beret, which is unique for a hat of a Pac-Man ghost, and he's always constantly yawning, and he seems to love to play the arcade game Pac-Man in the pac-store. He spends a lot of money on it too. He seems to be a character that loses a lot of sleep trying to beat Pac-Man, is just obsessed with playing Pac-Man and trying to beat it and spending all his money on it and then getting tired and going to bed, doing the same shit the next day. He's a relatable character. I think Harry's a cool character. And he's not Harry Potter as a ghost. I mean, I guess that could be a theory. What is really odd, though, and even though I'm not dissing the pac-store cartoon, I just think this is kind of interesting. I mean, the fact that Harry is a ghost and he's playing Pac-Man, a game where he has to be a pack and eat the ghosts, doesn't that seem ironic? It's ironic because he is a ghost, you know? What's really interesting about these ghosts in the pac-store cartoon is that they're not portrayed as villains, like how ghosts in Pac-Man usually are portrayed. They're not viewed as like the bad guys or whatever. These are like ghosts that live with the packs in this scenario. They're like casual with them, and they go to the store with them and eat food with them with the packs. Number 6. Guardian Ghosts. These ghosts appear in Pac-Man the Ghostly Adventures. They are one of the strongest types of ghosts that do exist, and they're pretty much the protectors of the Netherworld, and they are the ones that guard Betrayus' castle and in various other locations. And they also have staffs, which they use as a weapon, which is pretty neat. I dig the design of the Guardian Ghosts. It kind of reminds me of a medieval warrior or something, like just kind of the look of the Guardian Ghost. They have a very large mustache. The Guardian Ghosts, they're probably, can we say, the strongest ghosts ever in Pac-Man, or one of the strongest types of ghosts, really. Definitely in the Ghostly Adventures. The name is very fitting to what they do. I mean, they guard the Netherworld. They are probably the strongest soldiers that Betrayus has in his arsenal. Despite this, and I haven't watched this whole series, but I'm sure that Pac-Man was able to defeat them. But if they had written the show better, even though I still think it's a good show, if it was written better, they could have really upped the ante in building up the kind of aura and strength that the Guardian Ghosts have. Also, the name Guardian Ghosts, does this imply that they're ancestors of the ghosts or something? That they come from, like, are these ghosts, did they used to be packs? And they used to be old warriors from like the 1500s or something, and now they're these strong ghosts or something. Because they do kind of resemble almost a Eastern-esque design to me. Are they a Japanese-style kind of ghost? This ghost kind of also looks like Genghis Khan or something. I don't know, these are just a bunch of theories, but again, if the show explained things deeper with the characters and had it written a bit better, then we could have gotten answers to all these kinds of questions. Number 7. Numbu. The Numbu ghosts appear in the DS game Pac-Pix, and during the gameplay, you have to eat each of them in number order. Obviously, the name of what these ghosts are a pun on the word number, numbu. Other than that, there's really not much else to say about these ghosts. I suppose it makes it slightly more tricky that you have to eat them in order, as opposed to every other ghost in the history of Pac-Man, where Pac-Man, if you're playing the game, you can just eat any ghost you want. Does this mean that the Numbu ghosts have some kind of special power where they're able to survive longer as ghosts because Pac-Man's forced to eat them in order or something? Does this mean they possess some kind of special power? Maybe, probably not. I don't know. And number 8. The Pigtail Ghost from the pac-store cartoons. She's not listed as having a name, and she only appears in the intro. Rocky sees her and really wants to get attention from her. It's like, hey, look at me, look how cute I am. And it's like I said earlier, Rocky's a ladies' man. He's a skirt chaser. This Pigtail Ghost, she's cute, I guess, but there's really nothing else I could say about her. So, there you go. That's number 8, the Pigtail Ghost, the unnamed Pigtail Ghost from the pac-store cartoons. And there you have it. I talked about 8 ghosts, and this is the history of the Pac-Man ghosts, part 8. I really hope you guys like this video. Please leave me some comments if you want. Please like and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Which one of these ghosts is your favorite? And I just love doing these kinds of videos, and I'll keep making them if you guys keep watching them. Look forward to part 9 in the future, and I'm going to talk about them all. No ghost will be unfound in these videos. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.